Insomnia from UnrealTech.net here, division of BlenderTek.com. Short video during the holidays here today. We're going to do some more work on our non-ballistics BP weapon base setup of a realistic replicated G36 rifle. So open your project and remember, create your way. Just so you guys are aware, I'm running on 4.11 preview 1 due to the layout bug being fixed, where you can actually save your layout now. So just so you're aware, this is a backup of the main project, and you should always do so if you're using any preview versions. So I believe in our weapons folder, we were working on BP weapon underscore instant fire based, and we were filling the on rep hit notify, because hit notify is replicated for rep notify. We were filling out that function, and we needed the function here to make the hit information structure from simulate instant hit. So we were working on that function, and we had where did we come from? I know we did all this, so we got here, I guess, and we were just working on the second branch after the weapon trace, I guess, because we have that trace all set up, so that looks good to me. So yeah, we've got that, we've got the last hit time set, and that ends there. So that's good. So yeah, we'll just work off this last branch here after weapon trace. So what we're gonna want to do is under true, we're gonna want to spawn an impact effect. So let's create a new function called spawn impact effect. Let's go short and just go FX, and this will be under the visuals category, and we're gonna want one input, which is gonna be of type hit result. That's a default structure in the engine, which we are going to call hit in. That is of course a hit result like that you get on any physics-based hit. So we're going to take that, we are going to break it. We are also going to create a local variable of the same type, which we are going to call local underscore impact to use, and yeah, that'll be of type hit result. So we'll start by setting that to nothing. We're basically clearing it. Or sorry, we'll set it to the hit. And then we're gonna go to a branch, and we want to check if the hit was blocked by something. Otherwise, we don't want to spawn any effects if it basically didn't hit anything. You know, if it hit an invisible wall, well, we don't want to spawn any effects. So we're gonna go into sequence. It's gonna have two parts to it, so 0 and 1. The first one, we're gonna do an is valid on the hit component. So we're gonna go is valid imp here, the only one we can use apparently, and that is on hit component. So give it a little rewrote here. Oh, my key binding starting to set up in this. Oh well. So we want to check if that's valid. If not, we want to do a weapon trace from our base class. Basically, this hit information, it gets lost, or it loses the hit component when replicated. So we get it. We get the hit component back by performing a short trace at the impact point to figure out which component it hit, and it'll only be like a 15 unit trace. And then we're gonna set the hit back so that we get that component back replicated. Alrighty. So we are gonna just have to set up the vectors is all. So we're gonna do a vector plus vector for start. Actually, just type in plus vector, and then we're gonna want on the bottom one, we're gonna want a times float, and we're gonna want to go by like 15 units, extremely short trace. We hit something, and then we just want to do a small trace again, and that is gonna come from our impact normal. And so is, the top one up here is going to come from impact point. And impact point is also going to go into a vector minus vector. And that one is going to take this value and subtract from where it multiplies by the float. And that's going to be our end location. So we're not doing a plus, we're actually doing a minus because we want to trace back from the hit. So let's see, let's rewrite this, keep everything straight or something. Good enough, keep these lined up somewhat. No real way to keep this clean. We'll just leave it as it is. And it's not a weapon fire trace, it's just a regular trace. So we're gonna leave that false. So, do a short trace to find the hit component again since it gets lost during replication. Whoops, replication. There we go. And then I'm just gonna move this over. For the second part, we want to actually spawn an impact effect. So we are going to come down. Let's give it a reroute, which apparently I don't have set up again. That's gonna suck. Reroute, whatever. And so we'll want to spawn an actor from class, and that will be the class, which we don't have yet. The first thing we'll need to do though, let's take impact to use our local variable. Let's break it, and we want to take the spawn transform and let's just split it to keep things nice and simple. And let's also, we want to always spawn ignore collisions, and the rotation, we're going to take the impact normal and we're going to use our vector to rotator, what do you call it, macro that we created, that's from C++ API that we recreated in blueprints. That's going to be our rotation, and our impact point is going to be our location. So just like so. Now we also need, so I'm going to bring this up, maybe. The class is going to be our default impact effect class. So we need to create a variable which is going to be impact fx, and this is going to be editable, and it's going to be of the type BP impact effect. And it's going to be a class reference, not a regular reference. And then we want to compile, and we want to choose BP impact effect. Then we want to compile again, or sorry, we want to plug that class in, so that variable in rather, and then that gives us an instigator. And we also need a hit info, so we need to go into that impact effect so that we can set up that variable. So open the full blueprint editor, create a variable, and just call it hit info. And this is going to be transient. We want it to be 0 filled at load because we're going to be spawning lots of impacts, most likely. We want to expose on spawn though, that's what we're looking for here. We also want it to be editable, and then we just want it to be of type hit result. So we can compile and save. We can go back, and now we have a hit info in our impact effect. So that one is going to be from our local variable as well. And the instigator is going to be our owning pawn. I thought we totally set that up. Oh, I totally had that variable already. My bad. Let's replace that with impact effect. I totally missed the categories. Delete impact FX. I don't think I did anything else. We did have our default. Oh, right. That comes from the base class. Nothing. I haven't used Unreal in a few days. Owning pawn. Get owning pawn from the base class. You can tell it's from the base class because this is grayed out. You can't edit inherited variables. Alright, so that's set up properly. And so that'll spawn whatever effect is needed in that case. So that is that. So we'll just comment this. Spawn the FX. Compile. Save. And that is one function, I believe. So we can close that. We can go back to simulate instant hit. So if true, we want to spawn impact FX. And the hit in is going to come from the hit, from the weapon trace. Let's rewrote that down. Put that in there then if we want to even, I guess. Not straight. Oh well, not a big deal. And then after that, we want to take our impact point. Let's give it a reroute. Actually, no, faster way to do reroutes. What we want to do is we also want a tracer effect. So we're going to need a function for that. So let's duplicate spawn impact FX and let's call this spawn tracer FX. And let's open that up for editing. And let's just change this to a vector. And this will be the tracer endpoint. And then let's just, I think we have to delete everything. Yeah, let's delete everything. So that, and we don't need that local variable either. Save a little tiny bit of memory. So we're gonna go into a branch. And we are going to check, we want to first get the relevant weapon mesh. So find out if we need the first or third person mesh. And then we want to check if it's equal to the first person mesh. So plug in first person mesh. And if that is true, then we want to do an AND boolean. And we want to check B spawn tracers in first person. So are we even spawning tracers in first person? If that's not true, then that doesn't matter at all. But we also want to check, so an OR boolean. Third person. So let's just copy this top part and replace first person mesh with third person mesh. So we're either doing third person or first person. And so we find out this way here. So basically, yeah, if either of those is true, then we're gonna go ahead and do this. Otherwise, we can skip it completely if we're not spawning the tracers, or if we're in third person and the weapon mesh doesn't equal the weapon mesh. So AKA if we're not holding a gun, basically. So we want to, let's see, what we got? I can't remember yet. Tracer FX. Let's bring that in. We want to do an is valid. And for now, we just have particle sparks, but we'll make some nice little tracers. So we want to check if that's valid. And if it is, we want to spawn emitter at location. This is all client side. Spawn emitter at location. And the emitter template is going to be tracer FX. You know, let's bring it up. The location is going to be get muzzle location. Line up the pins. The rotation fine. Auto destroy yes. We want to take the return value and we want to set vector parameter. And in between there, we first want to do an is valid. So let's just bring this down. So we want to do an is valid. So make sure that emitter is still valid before we set the vector parameter. And that is tracer target parameter name, so endpoint. So let's stick that up there, I guess. You know what, let's bring it down. Let's do the reroutes up. So, all right, cool. And the param is going to come all the way from endpoint because that's what it's looking for. So let's plug that in there. Let's give it a reroute way up. See if we can't, or I guess way down, probably cleaner. Let's see if we can't sneak this in here. Just like that, why not? All right, cool. So that's our function to spawn a tracer. So compile. Oh yeah, visuals already set that right. So compile and save. I've got it set to autosave on compile. I suggest you do. It's pretty useful because I hate autosave. So now we spawn the impact FX, then we spawn tracer FX, and the endpoint comes from the impact point. So obviously you don't want your tracer to go through whatever it hits. And then, you know what, if false, we still spawn the tracer, we just don't do an impact effect. Because if we don't hit anything, we see a tracer, but we don't hit anything, so we don't need impact effects. So if false, spawn tracer FX. And let's bring this out a little bit so that's not overlapping. And the endpoint, it comes all the way from here. So let's connect these together and let's reroute them way down here. Let's do something like that maybe. Why not? We could bring it up, I guess. To about there. Alright, cool. So after that, well that's that. If false, we just spawn the tracer when we simulate an instant hit. But after we do this, if we do hit something, then we need to do some checks. So we go into a branch, and our condition is going to be, we're going to take the hit actor, so the actor that we hit, whatever the heck it is, we're going to cast to BP, base character. So did we hit somebody, basically, is what we're checking there. So we would need to make sure it's successful. So we want to check if it's successful, because if it comes out failed cast, basically it's not successful, then we didn't hit a character. So this stuff doesn't matter, we don't have to do it. We also want to get owning pawn, and we want to make sure what's the usual is locally controlled, and add a pin. We also want to use our helper function, get casted controller, and controller out. We want to make sure he's valid. I'm using the peer one. And let's bring this guy over and reroute. Because we're going to want to get his HUD, so we're going to want to do get HUD. And that's a default function, and then we're going to want to do an impure cast, whoops, not scast, cast to BP HUD, so then convert it to impure. If you have your settings like mine, where it defaults to a pure cast. So that's our condition, that we hit someone, and if we did hit someone, our owning pawn, whoever owns the gun, is locally controlled and the casted controller is valid. And if true, we go into another branch and we check if that person is dead, or not dead rather. So we get BR dead, and we do a not boolean. So whoever we hit, cast to the character to make sure it's a person, and if it is a person, make sure they're not dead. So if they are not dead, then we cast the BP HUD and we notify of the hit. So we just call notify hit. And that is our function. I believe it in its entirety. Once you start working with the vectors, they can get pretty darn long. So now we can go back to onRep hit notify and it will be done. So if true, if false, if it's not locally controlled, then we simulate instant hit. Like so, we just plug and play. Origin goes into origin, reticle spread goes into reticle spread, random seed goes into random seed, damage dealt goes into damage, and hit point goes into hit point. And there we have it. So we can compile and save, and that is done. So I believe before that we were working on deal damage. I can't really remember where we were. I guess we were, yeah, I can't remember. Simulate instant hit, however, that should go under a different category. Let's put that under visuals, since that spawns the impact and tracer effects. So I don't remember exactly where we were. I guess let's just go through some functions in the order that I have them referenced in my reference material. So let's create a new function called getAdjustedSpread. So this will be your bullet spread. So this is going to be under the accuracy category. And it's going to have an output, which is going to mean just one, which is going to mean it's pure, which is going to be the spread. So that's going to be pure. And so all we're going to need to do is take this and multiply. And we're going to multiply the base spread by the current spread. There we go. So that plus that, because remember current spread is going to change as we fire more frequently. So we want to multiply that by, we're going to do a linear interpolation, a lerp. And that is going to be, A is going to be 1. And we're going to take iron sight spread, I believe. Yeah, iron sight spread goes into B. So if we have the iron sights up, then we get much less. We get a quarter of the spread versus if we don't. So our alpha is going to be ADS position. Where are we? Where is our iron sights? Where do I have that? Debug, hit detection, fire. No. Come on, I know I have it somewhere. Or do I not? Oh, right, it comes from the base because we use that. We use iron sights in both types of weapons, instant hit and ballistic. So that is our alpha. So that's that function. There's actually not too many functions in this one. We could probably knock it out in one video, but we'll see. There's a lot of vectors, so I'll probably split into two. So in our onRep notify, I talked about process instant hit confirmed. So there is, and that actually shouldn't have an underscore. Oh well. So we need a function called process instant hit. So when we do an instant hit, we want to do all the mechanics on it basically and notify the server that we hit something or someone. So this is going to be under mechanics. and it's gonna have a bunch of inputs. We're of course gonna need a hit. We're gonna need a float also, which is gonna be our spread. We're gonna have hit result as our hit spread. We're gonna need an integer for a random seed. Rand seed. Now we're gonna need 3 vectors. We're gonna need an origin point. We're gonna need a shot or shooter's direction, the direction the shooting is going in. And sorry, I only meant 2 vectors. So what we're gonna want to do, we're gonna want to break our hit. We're also gonna want to reroute it. We're gonna need all of this rerouted, so reroute. And spread is gonna need to be rerouted. And random seed is gonna need to be rerouted. Really wish I had that hotkey now. Origin's gonna need to be rerouted. And shoot direction is gonna need to be rerouted. Let's put those all in place. You can put it 1, 2, whoops. If you put it 2 arrow key units below 1, then it's nice and clean and easy to select. All right, there we go. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go into a sequence. Maybe I should make those a little bit lower. Line it up with that pin and bring these a couple lower. Something like that. That works. And the first one we're gonna wanna go into a 3 and sequence, our little helper macro, 3 and. So like so. And so we're gonna wanna take our owning pawn, so get owning pawn. And we wanna make sure the usual is valid. So that is condition 1. Is locally controlled. Because remember, we're notifying the server, so this is going to be client side, and because of that we want to check is server not. So we're not the server. If it's the server, we're going to skip all of this logic. It's going to get to here and stop. So that's the third condition. So if true, if all those are true, we're going to want to do a 2 and sequence. And what we're going to do here is we're basically going to if we hit something controlled by the server, we tell the server, otherwise we tell the server of regular hit of a non-actor. So basically tell them if we hit an actor or nothing. Whoa, I can't type and I can't see. Yeah, so what we want to do there is we want to take the hit actor and make sure it's valid. And make sure has authority not. So that's our 2 conditions there. Make sure they're not going to get in the way of our little rewrote there. So that's our 2 conditions. So that, as you can see, if we hit a non-actor, we make sure that actor does not have authority. And we also make sure it's valid. So we're telling the server basically what we hit, whether it's a person or just a regular actor, you know, maybe a base or something, I don't know. That's not controlled by anyone. So if false, you go into a branch, and this one we're checking if no actor is hitter, close enough. So that condition is if this is valid. And then we go into another branch, And its condition is should be blocking hit. So B blocking hit. So did we hit something that blocked our shot? Basically, if T, so if true, then we'll tell the server, else tell it was a miss. It's kind of messy. Oh well. And yeah, up here we're basically, I guess I should do that one too. We're making sure we are client. Yeah, that's basically what we're doing. Something I'm totally forgetting when I look at this rewrote, and I've probably screwed this up quite a few times. Some of these things need to be passed by reference. The hit needs to be, and you'll see it turns to the diamond. The spread is good. Random seed, origin, and shoot direction need to be passed by reference too, though. Since we're a client telling the server. Yeah, so if true then, or I guess, yeah, so both of these trues are going to go into the same thing, which is going to be, I don't think we have, no. So let's go into our event graph and let's start creating all of our replications. So it's custom event. This is going to be server notify hit. So this is going to be executes on server. And we want it to be reliable, of course, since we're talking about hits. And we're going to need a whole bunch of things. Well, only a few. We're going to need a hit result, of course. So this is the hit. We're going to need see if I can remember the name of this. Vector net quantize, I believe. Net quantize. Vector net quantize normal, rather. So this will be the shoot direction. Let me just break that and check. Yeah, XYZ. Perfect. Okay, and we want a integer rand seed, and we want a float for reticle spread. And these should not be passed by reference. I don't know why they did. And that is going to call a function called confirm hit, and this is going to be the biggest function you will ever see. So maybe I'll wait for another day to do that. So I'm just going to leave ourselves a big red message saying create confirm hit function, because that function is going to take at least 15-20 minutes to do. So we're going to color that red. All right. Let's compile and save while we're at it. So process instant hit. So now we can at least that it's there. We can still call it. So if true, we are going to server notify hit. So hey server, we hit something under both of the trues. And we also want to do let's go down. We want to do a server notify miss. So let's just copy this, paste it. It's going to be server notify miss. I got caps on it, whatever. So yeah, this one's going to execute on server as well and be reliable. And we're going to need our direction, which is going to be our vector quantized normal. And we're going to want, we don't need our hit because it's a miss obviously, but we're going to want a random seed and our reticle spread. And what we can do is, first of all, we want to take hit notify. Let's make this bigger. And we want to set the members in it. So if we put that in there and compile, and then right click and restore all structure pins. So reticle spread, it comes just straight in. Random seed, it goes straight in. Damage dealt, we leave alone. Origin, it comes from get muzzle location. Where can we fit this? Over here maybe. And hit point, we leave alone as well. And then we need to do a little bit of math here. We want to take the muzzle location plus vector plus our total range, and we're going to take shoot direction times, it'll be it works as a vector, it automatically figures it out, times a float, so times range, and that goes into the plus there. So that's gonna go into we'll go over here, this is gonna go into a spawn tracer FX, and that'll be the endpoint. So we want to go into a branch, and we just want to make sure we're not a dedicated server, so let's do a not boolean, not dedicated server. So if it's a dedicated server, they don't need to see any effects. So if it is not a dedicated server, then spawn the tracer effects. Bingo, bango, bongo. So that one's actually good and done. So we just need that other one. So now we can go ahead and continue. So if false, then we notify server of a miss. Oh, I went server MISS. My bad. So now we need to start filling in all of this stuff. So let's see here. The shoot, or rather the origin, it doesn't need to be used till the end. So let's just bring it all the way over here. Is that straight? I can't even tell. Looks straight. No, that's straight. Okay. Shoot direction, however, is gonna come into right over there, and we're gonna break it. Break trend. That's not what I wanted. Break vector. Whoa, what's going on here? Okay, let's just reroute. And we want to break vector. There we go. That works better. And then we want to take this and make vector underscore net quantize normal. So Y goes in, Z goes in. Let's see if we can keep this clean. This is gonna have to come back, obviously. Whoops. So this plugs into our vector. Oh, come on. Our vector net quantize normal. What the heck is going on with that? That is totally a 411 bug. So that's going to go into our shoot direction. Actually, maybe I should rewrote that because we're going to need it again. Oh, whatever. We'll put it down here too, and then we're going to need it again. So let's bring it all the way over and reroute. Let's bring this down 1 point so that it stays equal. All right, cool. And we're going to want our random seed. So let's reroute it over here. Reroute. What the heck is going on? And our spread. reroute. What is going on? It's kind of weird. Let's compile. And our hit needs to be rerouted. That one worked. Alright, so let's fill these in. So our hit goes into here. It doesn't need to go into miss, but we're still gonna need it again. So let's reroute. Let's bring it all the way over here. Reroute. Let's take our reticle spread. Let's put it in each of them. Let's reroute that. Can't really go straight now, can I? I guess I'll just bring it down here. Reroute. Now it's getting a little messy. I should probably reorganize those pins. Oh well. And our random seed. And that can't go straight either. Reroute. And reroute. Why is that one broken? Some poor 11 bugs going on. Hopefully they fix those. Anyways, so yeah, we notify the server of the hit. We notify it of the miss, and then after that, let's line these up here. We're done. We just need one last thing. We take these. I guess I didn't even need to reroute them really. We need to we have, where is it? This false. And yeah, this false goes empty, but this false, if we're not a client, then we need to do something special. So let's take our execution and reroute it over here. If we're the server, we need to handle a confirmed hit, which again is a very long function. So I'm going to do that next time. So I am just going to reroute, comment, handle confirmed hit function goes here. Let's make that huge. And red. And so those will all plug into that too. But yeah, I don't really want to go through that one today. Let's see, is there anything else I can do? Yes, we can. We can override. Oh god, 91 functions to override. Is there really 91 functions we made? God, we're blueprinting like hell. We need to find should deal damage. There's radial and point damage. There's some S's. Any damage. Destroyed. I don't see it. So let's make sure it's there. So let's open up our BP base weapon, our weapon base. Should damage. We don't have it. It's not here. Interesting. So I guess we have another function to create then. This one I promise you will be easy, so just open BP weapon base, create a new function called should deal damage. This is going to be pure. It's going to have no nodes. It's going to be under mechanics. It's going to have an output. B should deal damage. So basically if you want to turn all damage on or off, this is the function to use or to call or whatever. Or if you want to modify it in some way in all weapons, this is the place to do it. And then we want just a regular actor reference. So actor in. compile, save. So that'll always be oh, we want that to be true. That'll always be true though, unless you obviously want to change it for some reason. That's why we're going to do an override. There we go, it's done saving. It's starting to get to be a pretty lots of stuff going on. Default mechanics, that's not what I intended. Mechanics, there we go. Confirm. Compile, I mean. Taking quite a while to compile. Alright, so now we can go back and what were we doing? I can't remember. Oh yeah, we were overriding it. So, override, we have 92 now. Now we just have to find it. There we go, should deal damage. So, we don't want to call the parent function, however. So, that can be deleted. So, if we want to deal damage, first of all, we take the actor in, we make sure he's valid. And we also want to make sure that it's the server, has authority. And we want to check if we are the server. And so, so basically, are we the server, or does the actor dealing the damage have authority? So is it like the host holding a gun or throwing a grenade or whatever? And so these are going to go into a to and sequence. It has to be a valid actor to have authority. And then if true and false, they both plug into return. Actually, I guess with the yeah, and then just B is true. You could also just add a add return node if you wanted, but I don't like doing that with pure functions. So just like that. So that is overridden. We have get adjusted spread. We have all our FX. Guess it's just down to mechanics now, and those are the big ones. Yeah, there's nothing else that's extremely short. Deal damage is fairly short, but maybe I'll wait till next time. What about our event graph? Maybe let's do that real quick, just to finish off. So let's go to our event graph, and we want event fire. We want to right click, call parent function. So we want to call the parent's fire script. And then we want to do something, yeah. Let's make a, or let's just comment, perform line traces function here. So that one needs to be done too. But at least we have that there. We can call it if we need it. And one thing we can do is event on weapon fire finished. What we do is we call its parent function logic. So yeah, you just right click and add call to parent function, and then we're gonna set current spread. So when you're done firing, we set current spread back to 0. Otherwise you just get worse and worse spread. So that is that. So yeah, next time we will finish the last 3 or 4 functions. It has a lot of vector math, a lot of math, but then we will have a instant fire weapon to play with. I realized too we haven't set the meshes yet here. I guess that's because that's not what we want to do. Unless we want to give it a default mesh, but we'll create a child blueprint class of this for that specific weapon yet. So yeah, so I'm gonna save it there for today. Compile, save, and we will see you guys hopefully before New Year's, but otherwise after New Year's, and have a happy New Year's. So thanks again for watching. If you learned something, please like the video, subscribe as well. We take donations at paypal.me/BlenderTek. If you disliked this video, please tell us why. So we'll see you next time. Remember, create your way.